And welcome back to another Let's Stream. This time I'm actually going to do two in the same day. Because I don't really feel like I accomplished everything I set out to do. As a matter of fact, I need to change this to session 11. I don't know if it's going to end up mattering, but... Anyways. I got the 10,000 gold I need for Imite to get him out of his little problem. But believe me, you actually want to do this. He is actually one of the best masters for Nina ever. Yeah, sob story, yada yada. I barely have enough, but it'll be totally worth it. How much do you want to bet? That's way more than he needs. He was just kind of begging for that much. Not only does he give a huge amount of intelligence and AP to Nina, but the skills she gets off of him are amazing. Yeah, they are pretty great, I will say. The only other master that even comes close to being useful, we come to much later on. But more importantly, let's check the fairy village, since I think it's been a while. I went ahead and did some off-screen fighting to move this along a bit. 3 fairies, made a new room, culture level rose. And I was actually wrong. Culture is not what I thought it was. At least I think. Let's see. Culture, actually, I believe, the higher the culture level, the faster you can actually learn things. Like, it basically makes... I don't know if it affects new fairies join you, but I know it actually makes your fairies, how do I word this? Learn faster, I guess. I guess that's a way to explain it. Oh, nice. That's perfect. Okay. Unfortunately, all I have is job now, so... Don't think I need anyone doing hunting yet. So I'll go ahead and put them in this. Let's see, 5, 7... Oh, that's 10, actually. Oh, that's not good. Okay, who is good at hunting? Like, any of you? You are, okay. Better add one more to hunting, then. Because you want to keep a third of your fairies in hunting at all times to keep food maxed out. Otherwise, it will start going down over time. Not all at once, but it can happen faster than you expect. So it's best not to let that happen. Now, I won't be doing any extra storyline stuff in this because, well, I really don't feel like I'd have near enough time to dedicate to that if I work on doing the furry village. I remember when those guys used to be tough. Those were the times. But, yeah, time to go back to my spot that I like to go to for stuff. Now, if you want money really quickly, go fight the Vagabonds in Ochre Road with both Ray and Nina, and have them use stealing techniques in there. Because you can steal moon swords from them, and they sell for like 1,000. So, you can make money really fast that way. Yeah, remember how I said that, at this point, money would never be a problem again? Yeah, I meant it. There are so many ways to make money. You can catch rare fish, you can steal for extremely high-selling items. And once the fairy village gets more developed, even better. I mean, oi, just wait. Like, it's so easy to make money. It's honestly not a problem at all. This is pretty much gonna be Fairy Village the session right here, because I don't want to off-screen any of this, all this neat stuff, because I want to explain it as it shows up, and unfortunately, with the way the Fairy Village works, I'm not gonna be able to do that unless you're here for it. So, for the purpose of showing everything off the first time, you're gonna have to bear with me here. I mean, I could just explain everything later, but I feel like you guys would be missing out, though, if I did that. And I've also heard that there's a myriad of factors that causes fairy growth. One is the elapsed time. Like, as time passes in the game, slowly but surely, your fairy village will grow. Battles also contribute, I think. And also, if you fight a boss or do any storyline in the game, that's considered an instant growth for the fairy village, like any major plot thing. I don't know what qualifies as plot, though. Are we talking like when they're talking, like in the story, or do they mean beat a story dungeon, or whatnot? I really don't know what that means, so I'm just going to assume it means every time I beat a new area. But, like, for the most part, though, you're going to be doing most of this through battles, especially when we start unlocking more jobs to the furry village, because one of them is strictly battles only when it comes to one of the jobs. So, we're really gonna have to keep that in mind. If I had access to it, I would actually go fight at the lighthouse near Rapala, but that part of the world is still technically sealed off to us for the moment, thanks to the plot summaries thing. It's basically a plot wall is what it is. We can't exactly pass right now. I will say this about that region, though. You know about how the volcano erupted and it was blocking our progress? We had to go to the volcano? Not anymore. Because so much time has passed, the magma has been cleaned up, so we really don't have to worry about that anymore. Thank God for that. I think you still have to walk through the front entrance, but that's about it. You don't have to deal with any battles or anything. And that's pretty great. I guess while I'm doing this, I will talk about one thing. Or a couple of things, really. One, it's come to my attention that apparently, some people kind of had a problem with what I said a couple of sessions back, specifically that, they felt like some of my thoughts on Breath of Fire 4 came off a bit too harsh. Not sure why they thought that. I mean, I'm mostly positive about the game, but... Okay. Let me clarify. Breath of Fire 4 is a really fun game, and if you like it, then I totally understand why. It's pretty great. I just don't like it as much as this, because I think this game, in terms of overall balance with its different mechanics, it was just handled far better. Whereas in Breath of Fire 4, I feel like they tried to simplify way too much, especially when it comes to the dragon, which, while not as bad as Breath of Fire or Dragon Quarter, it still didn't really impress me all that much. Like I said, the dragons just look really generic. I mean, they kind of look like each other, essentially. And I know some people really don't mind because they find that each one is still unique in its own way, and they all have a purpose in your team. And fair enough. The dragon system is obviously different for a reason. I get that there's a plot reason for it too. Like, it's just not for no reason. It's still something that bugs me though. Like, I like customization in my games, and the more unique the customization, usually the better, as far as I'm concerned. And Breath of Fire 4 just seemed to detract from a lot of that. Opting out to just make all the dragon forms have kind of a team dynamic of sorts. Like if one doesn't work out, you can switch to another in the midst of battle. Also, each one has their own unique health, so like if one gets low on HP, you can actually switch to another one. As long as you have the AP to spare, that is. Because it works the same way in that game as it does in this, basically. You lose AP every round that you use it. It's generally not as bad in 4, though, because, like, the AP is fixed, I think. Holy shit. I'm beginning to really wonder if increasing culture is causing more fairies to come in at a faster pace. Well, let's do something about this. Huh. Well, the food's not going down, so I must be doing something right. Okay. Go ahead and put another one in hunting. Holy crap. Wow. Well, I won't need people in clearing or building for much longer. Let's see. Well, we've unlocked Merchant. Now here's where things start getting a little more complicated. You see, you have different types. You have weapons, items, and handyman. And there's 2 different types of each one. Joy. Okay. Now, the more more fairies you have in a certain field, the faster it tends to grow in general. But you only need 1. Damn it. And for the sake of speeding this up a little bit, let's see. Let's see, do I have another long blue one? Not particularly. Yeah, just for the sake of speeding this up a little bit, I'm going to actually have them both in one thing. Okay, not sure what to put in you. Okay. I'll put you in clear. Let's see, we have 9, 12, 17. And there's 5 in hunting. But they're all really good at what they're doing, so that might be enough. Unfortunately, I think the cap at fairies runs at 20. Runs out at 20, so... At that point, you gotta kind of pick and choose, you know. It's not all bad, though. Once clearing and building is maxed out, then that's gonna be a lot more fairies to go around. Also, culture and job only needs to be around for so long before they're maxed out as well. So then you can do more with them. So that's nice. Now, for the purpose of the shops, I'm really just going to be showing off what the inventory is. And then I'm probably going to be doing something else with the Fairy Village. Because while the shops can have some nice gear on occasion, honestly, there's better things you can really do with your Fairy Village in terms of jobs. I will say that right now. But back to Breathfire 4. Let me go into a little more detail here. Okay. I'm not a big fan of the dragon system, because the customization is not as good. But the dragons aren't bad. As a matter of fact, I'd say that I tend to use the dragons more in 4 than in this game, because, well, dragons cost AP a lot of the time, and it can be quite a hassle to use that much AP every fight. Plus, a lot of fights, as you could probably tell, the enemies get taken out about 1 to 2 turns anyway, most of the time. So, changing into a dragon feels kind of pointless for those fights. It's mostly used as a way to make bosses easier. And even then, there are some times when I'd rather just reuse natural talents, depending on the boss in question. It really depends for me, because some dragon forms we get later on are downright broken as hell, and speaking of, actually, of dragons, I actually need to be showing off the different ones. Showing off Ray is going to be tricky, though. He's at level 20. And that's a lower level than anyone else, so you probably won't see him for a little bit. I'm going to have to work on him. But let's show off Gars. Why not? Let's see. Oh shit. Huh, it didn't work. I wonder why. Like, what causes this? Because, like, I'm doing the same thing as I did last time, but I just turned into a whelp instead. Yeah, I'm confused by this. Like, why can't I transform? Oh, is it only with certain couples? Is that what it is? I mean, maybe? I'm trying to turn into Rays is what I'm trying to do. But Rays is confusing. Pretty soon I'm gonna have to rest. I guess this does take a lot to be hybrid. Well, now I turn into Rays, so that's kind of cool. This has Shadow Walk and Tempest. Wind, damage altered by HP. Well, we know what Shadow Walk does, and it's pretty freaking amazing, but... Well, that's kind of neat. Shadow Walk is generally where it's at, though. Let me see if I can do that again. Yep, okay. How much is this doing with you? Oh my god. That's my favorite dragon form right now. Holy shit. I mean, it takes a lot of AP to manage it, to be fair, but... The damage output, though, just with base power. I don't even have my strongest weapon equipped either. I have the Feather Sword. Okay, just a moment, guys. I gotta see just how much damage that I would be doing. And actually, I need to talk to people and see what they have to say. He has a point. Okay. Now how much will I be doing? Oh, about the same it looks like. Still, that's pretty great. However, do I have to have both Momo and Ray in the same team to use that? That to me seems kind of... I don't know. I hope that's not the case here, because that's a team that I would almost never use. I would never use them in the same team like that. So that would actually be quite a problem. Okay, no. Ray does look like he's prioritized here. Okay, that's pretty awesome then. I like that. Okay. The good news about that is Fusion only takes like 16 to turn into it. And it would only take 8 each turn. So even if I use Shadow Walk, that's only 16 AP per turn. Even less so if I'm faster than a boss. So that's pretty awesome. But anyways, back to what we're supposed to be doing. Another thing about Breath of Fire 4, however, that does kind of bug me is that I like the storyline and the characters in this game a lot because everything has a very much personal approach to it, and there were legit stakes. Like, there were actual villains you were dealing with. You actually had, you had actual goals to achieve. In 4, I'll get more into it when I eventually stream it, which it will happen, but like, the villains, or lack thereof, for most of the game, just feels so much more shallow by comparison. Also, the villains in this game do actually feel like characters that could potentially exist in real life, like people like the gangsters, like the Mafia, like in Sin City, like you have this overly religious follower, Gar, who believes he's doing the right thing by stamping these dragons out. But he's conflicted. Like, he has very conflicted feelings on the whole matter. And these are experiences someone in real life could have, you know? Like, it felt very real. In 4, the villains you're fighting for most of the game are these mustache-twirling evil Empire guys, which we have in, like, every RPG ever. Like, seriously, these villains aren't special at all. Like, you see them in a lot of other RPGs, and it really feels a lot less enjoyable to fight against these villains when you know what kind of villains they are. Like, there's no depth to them at all, really. People make excuses for, like, the scientist lady, or guy, or whoever, but I don't know. I didn't find him / her all that interesting. And the ultimate bad guy that you actually get to play as, Fao Lu, I feel like had so much more depth than the main heroes most of the time, which, that's pretty bad. Like, if any time the villain is outshunning the heroes or doing something wrong, like, bad big time, I don't mind there being kind of a, like, comparison, like they're trying to show the hero's point of view and the villain's point of view and see how they clash. That's fine, but the heroes come off so much more boring by comparison, though. Like, seriously. All the good writing bits were given to Fao Lu, and all the hero stuff was kind of the leftovers. It was pretty bad. I mean, let's be honest, guys. Ryu, Nina, and the rest of the team barely come off as complex at all compared to Fao Lu and his stuff. And you're not even playing as Fao Lu for that much. Like, it's only for a few sections. And yet he comes off so much more complex of a character. I mean, he's not really, really amazing, like super duper awesome, like pedestal worthy writing, but by comparison, though, he is a lot more interesting at the very least, and I just hate the fact that things turned out that way. I mean, we had 3 games up to this point of them making Ryu, Nina, and your team fairly interesting to watch, if nothing else. In 4, though, they really dropped the ball with that. And here's why. A lot of this game has padding in it, which causes you to just go place to place with not much really happening, except you're traveling around the world, essentially, to a lot of different regions. It seemed like they were a lot more interested in kind of developing the world itself in this game, and I will say that some places in Breath of Fire 4 do look kind of interesting, but I think they went overboard with it. Breath of Fire 4's world is much too big. Oh my god. When you get close to the end of the game, and you have to do backtracking to do some side quests in order to get 100% completion, if you care about that, you will be back traveling everywhere. And it's not even interesting. Like, you know how colorful Breath of Fire 3's world map looks? Yeah, that's not the case in Breath of Fire 4. They went a lot more cheaper in this game. There's like a connect the dots style map where you're essentially traveling from place to place by connecting the dots. It is so much more boring traveling from place to place in the 4th entry. And the world is so huge, you'll be doing this a lot. Oh man, I remember that because when I was doing a lot of the side quests, not really realizing what the heck I was doing. Like, ugh. There's like this one trading side quest where you have to collect these like special metal balls. Yes, I know how phallic that sounds, but like you have to collect these like collectible ball things, and unless you have a guide in front of you, this can get confusing really quickly. And you have to travel through a lot of different areas to do this. And you have to do this to, like, master with someone. So you're going to want to do it, but it takes so long because of how big the world is. And I was like, why does the world have to be this freaking huge? Why couldn't they just, like cut down some of the locations? I mean, 3 of the towns in the game look like they're using the same exact overall design aspect. One's just bigger than the rest. And I was like, oh my god, this is terrible. I mean, how do you screw this up, guys? This is not that complicated. I'm trying to remember. Oh yeah, here we go. So where do we got new merchandise, Yeah, we're getting ourselves quite a village over here. Oh, that's new jobs. Nothing but the best. I'll be the judge of that. Let's see. Well, you have Windcutter. Flame Talon's Crepe Cape. Okay. Yeah, we got some new rooms back here. And you see the same thing. Piercing Pike. I'm guessing that goes to either Gar or Peko. It's hard to tell by name alone. Yeah, I think culture also improves just, well, Fairy Village improving in general. So, let's see. I think these are the last 3 fairies we're going to be getting. Now, I've heard of fairies actually being killed on purpose. Through a couple of various ways in hopes of getting better fairies. I don't feel right about that. Oh, we've unlocked the inn. Okay. I never do that for the furry village. It's not worth it to take up a spot. Let's have a couple more shops being made, though, shall we? We're not quite done here yet. Not quite. Let's see, do I have enough people working in food for all these? 5. Oh crap. I forgot to put someone in there. Yeah, that'd be kind of important. Don't quite have enough to get rid of those just yet, but it's coming. It's certainly coming. I might have to I might have to make this into a couple different sessions actually, because oops, don't know what I was thinking, but like, because this is taking a little longer than I thought. I know it's just because I just started the fairy village, and it does take a while to learn everything. But there's a couple specific jobs I'm really waiting on that are going to be extremely useful. I think I'm going to be doing this for like another 30 minutes or so. Although I think after this stream I'm going to be taking a break from it for a while, because there have been a lot of things that I've been really falling back on. But because of mobile games like Fate Grand Order and Fire Emblem Heroes, and a couple of other games, and keeping up on my streaming, and the nightmare that was fixing Twitch and getting it to where it was working fine. Yeah, that was kind of a thing. But yeah, I'm going to be taking a break from it after this, because I've definitely got to get back to working on that stuff. But yeah, Breath of Fire 4 is still a fun game, but there is just some things about it that just bug me. I will say it's still better than Breath of Fire Dragon Quarter, although that game also can be kind of fun in its own right. I just don't know if it makes for a good streaming game. Oh, speaking of, let me talk about that. To give a little more detail on why I think it wouldn't work. Because, like, I kind of explained it before, but probably not in the best detail. Okay, in Breath of Fire Dragon Quarter, called the 5th entry by a lot of people, you basically start off in like this underground area, this world, and the whole purpose is that you live in like this underground type city, but Nina in this game is kind of a sick girl, and she needs to get to the surface world, so you have to climb to the top, and it's a simple enough premise, although the problem here is that you only really have 3 characters you play as, and the gameplay feels overly strategic. And the game's also very hard. Like, you cannot just start the game, level up a bit, and play through it and expect to win. No, you have to actually do what this game calls, like, I actually forget the proper title for it, but you have 2 choices. You can either if you die, you can either go back to, like, your last save point and keep some of the stuff you've gained. Or you can start your whole game over, but you keep all the items and, like, weapons that you've gained over time. Now, for the most part, I don't use that feature very much, unless I've made it about halfway through the game, and starting over with those weapons can make certain things go a lot faster. Now, what's the purpose to doing that? Now, what's the purpose of doing that? Well, there's a system in the game that calculates how powerful your dragon is, and a meter goes up slowly over time. This is called the dragon counter, and it's probably one of the more annoying aspects of Dragon Quarter because you're essentially under a time limit to beat the game, in a sense. You have plenty of time to work with. The game's not that long, and you can beat it pretty quick, easily before the timer runs out on you. But you are still under a time limit, and I kind of understand why some people hate this. I mean, I certainly did. Especially when whenever you use your dragon, they actually count that against you because it makes the counter go up faster. Because using the power of the dragon in this game is actually considered dangerous. You don't know much about it, but you do get the feeling that something is seriously wrong with you when you turn into one. And yeah, if I had a problem with Breath of Fire 4 because of this, then I equally have a problem with Breath of Fire Dragon Quarter. You only get one dragon in this game, and it's really powerful and fun to use, but the game doesn't want you to do that, because you'll get a game over very, very quickly if you do. So basically, don't use your dragon ever unless you feel like you have to. Yes, a Breath of Fire game where the game tells you not to turn into a dragon. How in all the hell? Like, why would you ever do that? Like, it's ridiculously stupid. Why would you? Yeah, this game really does feel like it's from a completely different series at times because of how you have to play it. And that's not why it would make for a bad stream, though. You'll have to reset to your last save point a lot if you want to make the game feel a lot easier. And I did explain that, but here's why this is bad. There would be streaming sessions where I would essentially be doing the same thing over and over again. And just to put this into context, by the same thing, I mean essentially fighting the same random battles, which aren't really even random. You see them on the field and you have to run into them. Yeah, you have to do those the same. You sometimes have to fight a boss over and over again. You have to be really careful with how you use healing items, because healing items will make or break your success in this game. You have to hope you can beat a boss without using your dragon very much, which can be very hard to do during some of the more difficult ones. And you have to know how to manage a lot of your character's weapons, abilities, and stats. There's a lot to consider here, and you can easily screw this up. I don't know if I'm even comfortable with actually streaming this because of how much I suck at it. And I do suck at it. So, I don't know. I mean, when it comes to games like this, I don't think I'm good enough to actually do it proper. Like, I'd leave that to other players like David K5, who actually are far better at difficult situations with Breath of Fire games. The type that do challenge runs all the time, you know? Because that's clearly not me here. Am I actually able to level up in here? Wow. That just shows how long I've been in here. Wow, they keep giving me the one experience fight. And there's the level. That's not too bad. He's not really a powerhouse character, but he does get a decent amount of HP and agility. And ultimately, that's all he really needs. He's more of a support character than a offensive one. He gets skills like speed, silence, slow, and he can steal with Pilfer. If it's power you want, you turn into Were-Tiger. Raises power, slowly become Berserk. Yeah, like the power with Were-Tiger is amazing, but unless you abuse an exploit in the game, it's really dangerous. I believe I have the skill, I'm trying to remember what it's called. Command, I believe it is. And if you turn him into Were-Tiger and have a really fast character use that, then they'll actually treat Were-Tiger like it's a monster, and they'll obey your every command. So that's very interesting. Anyways, let's check out the Fairy Village. I just don't think that Dragon Quarter would make a very good stream, honestly. That's honestly my personal feelings on the matter. I just don't think it would work out very well. And I've had a few people actually bringing that up in several discussions. I made a new room. I actually think we could finally take people off of clearing and building then. Yep, we can. Awesome. Well, you're good at hunting, so... Oh shit, speaking of, I actually need someone else in hunting, apparently. I'm running out of food. Damn. I was not aware of that. Yeah, let's not take chances with that. Although I need to see what new jobs we got. Gift! Yeah, that. That is one of the best ones in the game by far. I'm gonna show off the shops first, though. Like all the merchandise and whatnot. Speaking of, let's see how far they've come in that. Because I will switch them off of it eventually. Laurel. Come on. Thinking up new jobs to do. Keep it up, guys. You're doing great. Catsbalger. Yeah, that's a really powerful weapon for him. Pretty pricey, though. It's better to just get it with fish. Oh, do you now? Oh my. I can buy multivitamins? Wow. This place is pretty great. This is mostly the same, but we'll see what happens. Well, let's just do a few battles and see if the food issue resolves itself. Otherwise, I'm gonna have to put a lot more people in food than I thought. It ultimately depends on how good they are at hunting, which is indicated by their red bar. If you have 6 that are fully mixed out in the red, then that's usually all you need. But if they're not, then you might have to put 7? I'm trying to remember. It's been a while. Now, as for Breath of Fire 1 and 2... Breath of Fire 2 would be much more likely than the first one. The first one, I'm really not a big fan of anymore. Influence, that's the one that helps make Weird Tiger good. Breath of Fire 1 is easily one of the hardest to actually play through these days. The archaic elements plus the amount of backtracking you have to do, as far as actually getting place to place, having to form very inconvenient tasks to progress, the fact that the characters really aren't that different from each other outside of very minor abilities and whatnot. Although I think Karn is the only one that I find really great in that game because of his transformation skills. And let's see, I'm trying to think here. And some dungeons can just screw off. Like, seriously. Like, I have a couple in my head that I'm thinking of. Yeah, just wow. Plus, I don't like the way bosses were handled in that game anyway. Like you would bring them down to, like, 0 health, but all of a sudden, they just get back up for a bit, and you don't know how much health they've got, and they can be there forever, and you not know how close you are to beat them. It's really bad. Also, they have, like when this happens, they also get a stat boost, and they have new attacks that are stronger than before, and it can be easy to be overwhelmed. Very easy to be overwhelmed. I mean, shit. Okay, let's see if things have improved. I hope they have, because certainly don't want to lose any fairies. Oh, new music. Well, that's a good sign, if nothing else. Let's see. Oh, got new merchandise. It doesn't say anyone died, and it generally will, so... Oh yeah, great, okay. Oh, I have 7 people on hunting, that's why. Well, that would certainly explain it. I need someone better than Pear, but... I don't think anyone... Wait, you are. Okay, is anyone also really good? Sadly, no. That sucks. It'd be great if one of these was just really good at hunting, but I don't think they are. Oh well. Royal Dagger. You'd think they'd go to Nina, but you'd be wrong. I guess he's not interested in using the Royal Dagger. Titan Belt, okay. So, very basic things still. Protectors. Resist status change. Oh, really? I can see that being useful. Sure, it costs a lot, though. Oh, really? Napalm, eh? I mean, at this point in the game, that's not as useful, but still. At least I can buy it now if I want. Yeah, this part of the game is awesome. Okay. Fortune. Predicts the future. This is another one I never use. It's basically there just for funsies. But yeah, things would be going pretty well. We're about halfway there when it comes to learning all the jobs, so that's good. But yeah, Breath of Fire 1, eesh. You'd think I hated the series as much as I rant about it, but there were good things in all of them. It's just that I remember the bad more than the good a lot of the time. Breath of Fire 2 is a game that I know it's very flawed, but I always seem to go back to play it. There's something about that game that just draws me to it. It might be the overall dark themes with the villain, which... yeah, when you first start up a new game on that, you can pretty much see right away that they're not pulling any punches here. This game is creepy as all hell, and they make you know it. Like, even in that beginning sequence with the giant eyeball that's, like stalking you, just like, man, like, they want you to feel intimidated. But, also, I am kind of a big fan of, like, the characters in that game. And how they how everything feels personal with the characters in that one. Because, like, you have Bo, who, yeah, he gets accidentally framed, and, you know, you have to hide him out. And this whole journey is about you trying to free Bo's name, at least at first. And, you know, and once that's taken care of, you find out more about your past and how things got screwed up, and you know, and you want answers, so you go on this quest to find out those answers. And all these characters have a very strong reason for joining up, and you know, that's what gets me invested, is characters that feel like real people that actually have real problems. I'm not really a big fan of the JRPGs that pull the whole Chosen One approach, where you're on this journey because you kind of have to, and you're a hero, and you have to do heroic things. I've never been a fan of that. I mean, it can work in certain game series like Legend of Zelda, or like games like various Final Fantasy games, but like For the most part, though, I'm not exactly a big fan of that. I'd rather just have the journey that the characters go on feel a lot more personal, and everything be tied to the character's journey. You know, like I want it. I want their personal struggle to be part of the adventure. I don't want the adventure to be the sole reason we're playing the game, because I'm not as invested with games like that. I'm actually kind of amazed that Legend of Zelda is as good as it is with what little they actually give you to care about, because well, sometimes innocents may get involved in Ganondorf's conquest, but for the first few games, like, you were pretty much recruited to pretty much be a lone hero to fight the villain. Like, you were kind of just the best warrior that happened to be around at the time, and it was kind of expected for you to do your duty to save the princess, you know? Like, there was really nothing there was no personal involvement there. I don't think we got that until, like, Ocarina of Time came out for that series. And even then, the personal involvement only went so far. I mean, the journey still heavily hinged on the fact that Link was a very heroic kid, and, you know, he was going to do this heroic task. I mean, no one was forcing him, to be sure, but and there was a lot throughout the game thrown at Link, like, oh, well, the Triforce of Courage chose Link, then that must mean you're the chosen hero that's supposed to save us. Like, what if Link really didn't want this, like, Oz adventure? Like, what happened if he wanted to say no? Like, could he at that point? I mean, when you're this far in, you can't exactly just say, I don't feel like doing this anymore. Not that he would. I mean, this is Link we're talking about, but just for sake of argument, like, yeah, they really wanted to make it impossible for this to be the case here, and they still wanted to push the whole Chosen One aspect. It's the same for Zelda too, actually, because she's been as much roped into this as Link has, like, always. I think it's actually worse for her, because since birth, I think it's pretty much been determined that this is her lot in life. I mean, even in Wind Waker, she couldn't avoid it. It's pretty tacky. Let's see. Spiked gauntlets. We're actually running out of items for them to sell here, so that's pretty great. Raises power. So it raises it by 5. Alright. It also has a weight of 1, which is pretty great. Yeah, fairies tend to sell some pretty nice gear once you get them fully maxed out. Tiger's Cap. Gee, I wonder who gets that. Well, actually everyone does. Wow, really? Come on, talk to me. Dream Ring. I can buy these? Wow. So sleep is no longer a problem in the game, then. That's neat. And Dream Ring is also sold for this one. I'm not sure what they decided is to have a lot of the same items show up in these different variety shops. There's really not much of a point to that. I mean, some items are going to be different, but not enough variety, though, between the two different types of stores. Well, since I'm almost done filling in those two shops, I'll make that to be the last thing I do for this one. I think one more session is all it's going to be before I unlock all the different stuff. You know, it's kind of funny looking back at my experience with this game. When I was younger, I actually would get up at like early at 5 or 6 in the morning and play this game. And I distinctly remember one of those mornings. It was when I would get up early in the morning. This was back when the game was actually in the living room and not in my own personal room, and I would play it then. I was in the part of the game where you, Nina, and Momo had to go into the dump to fight the mutant, and you know, I remember that because like it was such a joyful memory too, because like this game had such charm to it, and it still does, really. Of course, I also remember that playthrough me getting frustrated because I was under-leveled and I wasn't aware of that, and I had so much trouble beating like Mikba and the zombie dragon. Granted, they're both hard bosses in general, but I was under-leveled. I kept dying over and over again. I was so frustrated. But, you know... But it was a very pleasurable memory for me. I remember that. I think more than anything though, my main issue was that with this game was just the fact that I had to over-level like crazy with the Masters, and I didn't know as much about the game back then as I do now on how to take advantage of things. Like with Peiko, using his low level to your advantage. I didn't know about that, so I remember grinding and grinding and grinding like crazy to get all the Masters done. And I don't think I could do it, not all of them. Because I was like level 60 with a lot of my characters, and I just found it hard to level up at that point. Like there was a few Masters left, and I just couldn't stand it. And I will say that's probably the weakest part of the game, is just mastering everything. Like with the Masters, I mean. It takes forever. With the way I'm handling it now, it's not as bad, but still, by the end, you're gonna be like level 50 by the time you're done, I think. Unless you really split them amongst all your characters. But at this point in the game, leveling up anyone takes a semi-decent amount of time. So that's still hard to do. I can't believe I'm about to level up in here. I doubt I'll take the time to actually get that, though. Because I really do need to stop for now. It's getting really late at this point. But I still wanted to get this done. Because I wasn't really ready to stop playing this for the moment. And I wanted all this to be on screen. I still have more fishing I need to do with the Barandis. From what I understand, the problem is with them is that they're just fussy with bait anyway. Apparently a lot of fish are, and I just don't remember that. Unless you have, like, the best variety of bait. They have a somewhat average chance of biting those, but for the level 3 bait, you're gonna be struggling to get them to bite a lot of the time. Oh boy, isn't that nice. No, it's not nice. It's actually really bad. Okay, I'm just gonna go to Mount Levitt real quick. And do like a couple of battles. Yeah, one more battle. So I can get that level real quick. Why not? Holy crap. AP 11, Intelligence 10, HP 4, and Agility 2. She's still getting Agility? Really? You are under Emite, right? Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Gotta go check the Fairy Village one last time. Also see what jobs I got, because I didn't check last time. Yep, okay. First jobs. Explorer. Explore and search for items. This is one that can be a bit dangerous, because you can actually lose fairies in this, but depending on how skilled they are, they can come back with some very nice items. Antiques, so buy unusual items. You know, items like the plate and the old painting? Yeah, they'll actually buy those from you for pretty good prices. But that's about it. Ice Halberd. There might be room for one more item. I'm not exactly sure about that, though. Ice Halberd. I think that's actually for, Gar. Balance Ring. Protection versus Confusion. Oh, nice. Kinda wish I had that for that freaking dragon zombie. He would have been a pushover. Alas. But hey, at least we can buy those, right? That'd be nice. Confusion is like the worst one in the game. Ouroboros. Oh god. I'm reminded of Resident Evil 5. Or is it 6? No, it's 5. Oh my god. That's actually a lot better for her than the staff I got her. Diamond Ring. Protection versus death attacks? Oh, nice. Raises defense versus psionic attacks. What are psionic attacks? Protection versus confusion. Okay, so... Not exactly sure about that. I'm not sure if those shops are done yet. Well... Not sure if culture is done yet. I don't really know what the max is on that. I thought it was 9, but I could be wrong about that. Even if it isn't, I think culture is really good enough. Still, I'll wait until next time to actually do more with that. But yeah, this is where I'm going to call it for now. Because it's like 11 a.m. and I got to get some sleep here soon. But thank you guys for watching, and next time we're probably going to finish off mastering our Fairy Kingdom, at least with shops. And then we'll see what happens from there. Catch you guys later.